So, little public service announcement on heat shrink. If you're getting your heat shrink on Amazon or other places, maybe part stores, you're not going to really get the best quality heat shrink. I'll show you why in a minute, but one thing that I do is I see if it rebounds to its original shape. If it does, I try and avoid using that type of heat shrink. Also, you don't hear anything. This is dealer level heat shrink that you would find in a $100 connector kit. Usually I'll have an E3-1 on it. Anyways, you can hear it making a noise, like a popping sound. It doesn't go back to its original shape. This is high quality heat shrink. This is what you should always be using. So I've got that typical low quality part store heat shrink. We're going to stick it on here on this wire. Now I heated that a lot. If you get closer here, you can see that there's no sealant. It's basically not sealing the circuit. It might not move, and there is some tackiness on the inside, but heat shrink is not just heat shrink. It's also a sealant on the inside of the heat shrink, or there should be. So if you're getting heat shrink that doesn't have a sealant on the inside, then really you're just wasting your time, and it's going to get moisture in there for sure. So this auto parts store heat shrink and Amazon heat shrink, you can get Amazon heat shrink with sealant on the inside, but even that stuff doesn't typically shrink far enough in my experience for what you're trying to use it for, which is like 22 gauge wire in most modern harnesses. But we're going to look at the quality heat shrink here. We're going to take a wire and stick it on here. Okay, so if we get close here, you can see all that material on the end was what was on the inside, which is, I don't know what exactly that material is, but it creates a airtight seal around the wire and the strands that you have that are uninsulated. It's a reason why we use heat shrink. So really it should be called heat shrink and sealant, but that's what you want to see. You want to see this tacky material like this. It's like taffy on the end of the heat shrink, and that's what's missing in most auto parts store heat shrink. So really you're getting a heated connector, a shrinkable connector, but you're not going to get a long-term lasting connection. So it's going to be basically almost like using barrel connectors. So make sure you have good quality heat shrink. This stuff I got in bulk, and it's not cheap. Each heat shrink piece is probably about $1, but again, it's going to last a very long time because it's sealing up the bare copper. We don't want corrosion in there.